Hey everyone, today I wanted to open up a discussion topic and make a case why Nintendo needs chihuahuas during E3 2021. I feel like they're in a very precarious situation and very similar to back in 2019, where back then I made an original video talking about how they needed chihuahuas in that very specific year for one very good reason. We had a lot of games that were announced, but they had no release dates. There was a slew of titles that we knew were supposed to release within the 2019 to 2020 window, but Nintendo has not set any release dates up until then. And if they failed to provide us with release dates or reveal anything major for the upcoming year, heading into 2020, then perhaps they were going to be in a lot of trouble. Specifically when it came to the conversation of console sales, since at the time, people were already concerned that since 2018 was a bit of a down year for titles for software, heading into 2019, sales could begin to drop. Heading into 2021's E3, we're almost in a very similar situation and for very similar reasons. There's a slew of Nintendo first-party titles and third-party titles that we're waiting to hear from, like Room Factory 5, Mario Golf Super Rush, Metroid Prime 4, Breath of the Wild 2, Shin Megami Tensei 5, Project Triangle Strategy, Skyward Sword HD, Hollow Knight Silksong, Bayonetta 3, No More Heroes 3, Monster Hunter Stories 2, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond Shining and Pearl, Splatoon 3, Pokemon Legends Arceus. You see what I'm saying? There's a lot of titles that are still basically without a release date that Nintendo could easily showcase fully and not necessarily give us a release date for every single one of them, because even if they were to release in 2022, like we know with Splatoon 3 for example, they're not going to give us a release date for that just yet. But showing more about it, showing their ambition, showing what those games are necessarily going to be doing would go a long way from giving us a pretty good idea how robust the holiday season will be for Nintendo and how it will shape up 2022, or at the very least the first half of next year. I'm just going to specifically in this video focus on software. I'm not even going to try to tackle the whole rumors about a Nintendo Switch Pro or even like how Game Pass is supposed to be coming to Switch. Those are rumors. I don't necessarily want to focus on that. I will be making a predictions video in the future before the event does take place. Hopefully Nintendo will actually give us details about that in the near future. But I actually just want to speak software directly, because these are just titles, the ones that I just mentioned, that we know are announced. We know they're working on them. We know they are coming. And they're not the only ones. That's just kind of like the highlight ones that I focused on. There's a bunch of smaller titles like even Digimon Survive, Fate Tactics, Fall Guys, Diamond Warriors 9, Baldo, Oxenfree 2, Eastward, Axionverse 2, Disgaea 6, Skatebird, Outer Wilds. There's just so many other titles that I could focus on, but I'm just going to try to focus on the bigger ones and make a case where Nintendo needs to talk about these games, because ultimately I feel like if they let E3 pass and they just show us yet another couple of Smash characters, maybe a little bit more about Breath of the Wild 2, which I know realistically speaking, if they just show Breath of the Wild 2, everybody will be happy. Like automatically, like it wouldn't even matter if they show any other games. As long as they show Breath of the Wild 2 and it looks as good as people expect it to be, like a direct sequel to one of the greatest games ever made, people will be automatically happy. I understand that. I personally would be disappointed because I'm expecting more than that. And I feel like they definitely have the software lineup, at the very least from the games that we just covered, the games that are announced, that they can definitely make a big push for like one of the best E3 presentations they've had in recent years, including the one from 2019 and even the one from 2017, which was like magnificent. If you remember back when they showcased like Super Mario Odyssey for the very first time back in 2017, right after the Switch launch, that was a great E3 event for Nintendo. 2019 was another great one when they revealed Breath of the Wild 2 for the very first time. And I feel like this one could be just one of those, potentially one of the greatest of all time, if they decide to show just the bulk of titles that we do know are coming. But because they have been kind of gun shy about just showing off more things and like stating, hey, this is the plans that we have going forward, we're just left in a situation where we're mostly guessing as to what they could possibly do. There's even rumors going around today about like new Donkey Kong and new 3D Kirby and stuff like that, which is like, these are old rumors. They're not even new. I don't necessarily know why people are like all of a sudden surprised that there's talks of this. Like Donkey Kong and 3D Kirby has been like a thing for like, I want to say since last summer in 2020, basically before the whole pandemic, there was already talks about these games. So I don't necessarily know why rumors about these games all of a sudden are starting to pop up. But if we can just focus on things like, you know, the big titles that are releasing that Nintendo can actually push and make a big case for it. And again, if they just lay like a couple of 4 to 5 release dates into the holiday season, you know, I believe that's really going to push console sales. And ultimately, that's what it boils down to them. They want to be able to have, they just recently set up sales expectations for 25 million units sold within fiscal 2021 heading into 2022, which is a lot of consoles. You know, like people are saying like, well, that's definitely less than what they already sold in 2020. It's like, yeah, but at the same time, it's like 25 million consoles put them at over 100 million consoles sold worldwide, you know, by the end of fiscal 2022, which is in March. And it puts them in a situation where it's like, it's right behind the PlayStation 4 with just 5 years in the market. Like, that's amazing. That's just like unparalleled. They're like outpacing every other console except like the DS and the PS2. So, you know, it's like very impressive what Nintendo has done with the system, and they want to be able to keep selling consoles. That's the entire purpose of their marketing system. So they do want to be able to have some games to showcase, and I feel like if they just set up like, you know, yes, we know the 2 Pokemon like Legend Arceus and the Brilliant and Diamond, Shining and Pearl games that are coming, but if they showcase a little bit more about them, whether the Pokemon company actually decides to let Nintendo handle it instead of the Pokemon company themselves having a specific event, would go a long way. We know that No More Heroes and Monster Hunter Stories 2 are like basically set for release dates, you know, but games like Room Factory 5 have no release date. You know, we just don't know when they're going to come in the West, although they're about to release in Japan, I believe, if not this month, next month. You know, Mario Golf, yeah, they're probably going to do like a Treehouse event for that. That's kind of like a no-brainer. But then there's like the big ones, right? Like Skyward Sword HD, you know, whether people want to buy that a game or, you know, complain that it's not as good as other Zelda games, that's a big game for Nintendo, whether you like it or not. That's just how they're going to position it. Are they going to talk about a couple of new features that could get more people interested about it since, you know, they probably didn't play it the first time around? We'll have to wait and see. And then like the top tier games like Bayonetta 3, Splatoon 3, Breath of the Wild 2, Shin Megami Tensei 5. I feel like those are like the ones that they basically need to focus on the most. And like Splatoon 3, they're probably gonna reserve that for like a, you know, heading into the holiday season. But I feel like if they show more about that game, because we just understand the scope of Splatoon, how big those games are, and you know, the more they show, the better. Whatever the 2 twin singers will be, you know, they could show that off automatically, and that automatically gets the Splatoon base excited. When you start talking about Metroid Prime 4, are they actually just gonna show a trailer? Forget the logo, just show a basic trailer of what that game's idea is. I'm not even asking for gameplay, just show what trailer is gonna try to push for, because we hear so much about how much talent they're hiring and what they're trying to do with it, but we don't necessarily have any sort of idea of like Nintendo's scope of what this project could ultimately end up being. And the same goes for Breath of the Wild 2. We theoretically saw gameplay, or so we think. That was 2 years ago, but we still have no idea of like how much are they willing to change the world. Are they even going to reuse the map? Are they going to use a smaller version of that map? Are they going to do an entirely new map altogether, which probably explains the reason why it's taken so long. I don't know. I don't think so. But, you know, this is the point that I'm trying to make. It's like, put those things in front of people. Like, make us understand as to why these things have taken so long. Yes, COVID included. That definitely delayed things. All things considered, we understand that it's been over a year. We get it. These projects have been in development for a long time. And one of those is like Shin Megami Tensei 5. This game was revealed before the Switch. Put that in perspective, just like for you to be able to understand. This game was revealed before the Nintendo Switch was even named. It was Project NX back in the day, and then like we knew that this game was gonna be for the next big Nintendo thing. It's just the perspective of it. It's like they've taken so long with these type of games. You know, Atlas does take forever with their games. It is what it is. But you know, at some point, it's like you need to give us some sort of perspective. They did have some event last year confirming that the game will be coming, but ultimately, we need to have some better perspectives. And that's kind of what I'm asking for. It's like, when I say Nintendo needs to wow us at E3, I'm basically saying, like, just show the things that you already announced. I'm not even asking for you to show me, like, new Donkey Kong or new Kirby or stuff like that. That'd be great. Don't get me wrong. I'd be kind of disappointed if the rumors are true that the Odyssey team, the Super Mario Odyssey team, is working on a Donkey Kong game. That feels like talent wasted. I'm not a big Donkey Kong fan. Sorry, guys. but it feels to me like talent wasted. I feel like those guys should be working on the next Mario already. So, you know, it is what it is. Hopeful that, you know, with the titles that they have, with the titles that we know of, forget the rumors, forget all the Switch Pro consoles and Game Passes and all of that, just the games alone, they could stomp the competition like easily. They have games to show that people care about. Just show them. Give us release dates. Give us some idea of what these future projects are. Again, Metroid, show us what that game is, not necessarily when it's coming. We don't need to know that because I don't think it's coming out anytime soon. Give us some idea of what that game is so people can actually feel realistically positive about it instead of being wondering and perhaps even worried that those games are going to take longer than they should have. So hopefully I made a case as to why Nintendo needs to wow us at E3. It's all about the games, not necessarily the consoles, not necessarily, you know, the peripherals or anything like that, just the games. Show us the games. I'm pretty sure people will be happy. If you're brand new to my channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, hit the bell to receive notifications when the videos go up, and as always, thank you so much for watching. See ya.